Ketogenic diet is popular, but is it also healthy? There are a lot of people who speak about the health effects of ketogenic diet, but they only speak. Have you seen any scientific data presented from those people and generated by those people? Or have you heard a lot of blah 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 blah, but nothing concrete? It is like religion. You can trust and believe, or you cannot. I have done a scientific analysis about ketogenic bread. I will show you how healthy are ketogenic breads based on scientific data. Just wait and be surprised. I have selected 3 most popular ketogenic breads in YouTube. The first bread is from Dr. Berg. He has the title Healthiest Bread in the World, and 8 million people have clicked to this bread. It is enormous number actually. I am surprised. The second bread is presented by Keto King, and this bread has the title The Best Keto Bread Ever, and 1.1 million people clicked to this bread. Third bread is presented by One Day One Recipe, and the title of this bread is 2 ingredient bread. And 1.6 million people watch this recipe as well. I have summarized the 3 recipes here as again. Here is the Dr. Berg. We have almond flour, arrowroot flour, coconut salt, yeast, and chia, psyllium husk, and maple syrup, and egg. Actually, looks like a little bit bread or cake or something like in between. The Keto King, 1.2 million people clicked, and it has oat fiber, flaxseed, wheat gluten. That is remarkable. We have gluten that is pure protein, 190 grams. That also looks like a cake because there is butter, there is egg, there is sweetener and honey, and very little fiber as well. In terms of One Day One Recipe, we have a very simple bread. 1.7 million people clicked on it, and it consists of flaxseed and egg. Here I can also see that it is more egg than flaxseed actually. As comparison, we have a standard bread. It is a wheat bread. It is whole grain wheat flour and salt and yeast. Let's compare first of all the energy of different breads. In terms of calories, the standard bread has 300, and then Dr. Berg's bread has 433 calories. It is almost 50% more calorie in this bread. One Day One Recipe bread has a particularly low amount of calorie because more or less it is egg actually. And by fat, there is a huge difference. Standard bread doesn't have fat, we know it. It is 2%, very, very low. Dr. Berg's bread has very high fat content, 28 gram or 28%. That bread consists of fat, and I asked myself how it is possible. Let's go again one more time to the recipe. That fat comes from almond flour. It is 50% fat, and coconut flour is also 50% fat, and that is the reason why this bread is so fatty. Let's go to carbohydrates. This should be a keto bread, therefore it is not surprised that the carbohydrate concentration in all those bread is lower. In our standard bread, carbohydrate is of course very high. In sugar, I see a surprise. In the standard bread, there is no sugar or almost no sugar. And in Dr. Berg and Keto King, there are more sugar, significantly more. And I asked the question why it is sugar containing. Let's go to the recipe and look where it comes from. By Dr. Berg, the sugar comes from maple syrup. And by Keto King, it comes from the honey, but also the sweetener. Is surprise. It is a ketogenic bread, but there are more sugar containing. And also in proteins, there is big difference. More or less all 3 breads here, wheat and Dr. Berg and One Day One Recipe, they have the same amount of protein. However, Keto King consists of 38 gram or 38% of protein. It is enormous. How it is possible? I go back again to recipe, and then we look why is the protein so high. Because this bread consists more or less wheat gluten. It is 190 gram. It is enormously high. That is the reason why Total protein concentration is here very, very high. Let's go to fiber. Fiber, we know it is very important for the bacteria in our gut, and we try to get more fiber through the food. And the standard bread has the highest fiber, and the other breads have actually half of the fiber content. In this regard, they are not very beneficial compared to standard bread. Keto King bread has the lowest fiber, and the question is why? One more time, because more than half of the recipe in Keto King is gluten, pure gluten, it is the protein, and also the egg. Egg has also no fiber, we know it. And that is the reason why it has extremely low fiber concentration. And let's look the minerals. I am biotechnologist. I would like to compare the nutritional profile of different foods and then show the results to the public. If you are interested to know more about the food in future, maybe even your favorite food, please follow me. When I speak about minerals, I understand potassium, calcium, magnesium, and phosphate. Those 4 minerals, I have formed a group and then compare the groups. One bread is actually extraordinarily good. Dr. Berg's bread with 2000 milligram per 100 gram. It is very high. And the other 3 breads more or less the same. When I speak about trace elements, I speak about iron, zinc, copper, mangan, fluoride, and iodide. I have formed a group and accumulated all these ions in one group. 2 bread are more or less the same or best in terms of trace elements. And vitamins. In vitamins, more or less 3 breads are the same, and only 1 bread has double amount of vitamins, that is the Dr. Berg's bread. All the vitamins, what we know, I have accumulated and formed a group. And here is the winner, Dr. Berg's bread actually. We have seen that each bread is good in one particular nutrient group. For example, if you are interested to eat more proteins, then it is better to eat the bread of Keto King. Or in terms of vitamins, it is better to eat from Dr. Berg. However, only vitamin or only protein doesn't express the healthiness of a bread. We can speak about healthiness only if we consider all the nutrients. We know around 60 nutrients which are important for our health. All these 60 nutrients must be well balanced. They must be not too much and not too little. Thereafter we can say one bread is healthier and the other bread is less healthier. And the question is, how can we compare those 3 bread regarding all the 60 nutrients and how well are those nutrients are balanced to each other? In order to answer this question, I have developed balance scale. It is a method which evaluates the concentration of every nutrient. The concentration of one particular nutrient is not permitted to be too low or not too high. It must be in optimum. Only thereafter we can speak about an optimally balanced nutrient. In our everyday life, we speak always about limitation. People say, oh, I need to take some vitamin pills, or I need to eat protein bread because something is missing in our body. But no one asks the question, if you eat some nutrients too much, what happens if you eat too much? Do you think it will be washed out in body? No, never. If you eat nutrients too much, they accumulate in your body. And this accumulation generates over the time the chronic illnesses. That means if you eat some nutrients too much, you get the illnesses slowly but over the time. That is the reason why I called the title of this video Keto Kills You Slowly, because by keto a lot of nutrients accumulate in our body over the time. You don't feel it by first day, first month, or 6 months, but you feel it over the year if you continue the keto diet. Now I will answer the most important question. How well are those 60 nutrients balanced in each bread? Let's look the final data. By wheat bread, we have a number of 68%. That means 68% of all the nutrients are
delivered when we eat 100 gram wheat bread. And by Dr. Berg, it is 49%. That means 49% of nutrients are delivered, or they are in optimal range in 100 gram bread. In terms of Keto King, it is actually toxic. It is highly concentrated in a lot of nutrients, especially in protein and amino acids. Therefore, if you eat 100 gram of this bread, you do more damage than you do something positive, actually. In summary, the winner of all these 4 breads is the standard wheat bread with 68%.
Around 10 million people were watching the videos of those 3 bread and they were believing it is the healthiest in the world. However, data analysis shows the healthiest bread in the world is your standard whole grain wheat bread.